Hello, friends. We are back for our second stream of the night. We just finished the most recent episode of The Traitors. It just dropped today. If you haven't watched it, what the heck is the matter with you? So we are going to chat about The Traitors. Let's get into it.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Okie dokie. I am Gina Morgino, and I am joined, of course, by my two faithful friends, Kyle Petty and John Dumpy. And we are Strat Chat. I'm not trying to brag, but some people have said we are their favorite reality TV podcast. So obviously we are the place to be. People have said it. And of course, we're here to talk to you about the newest episode of The Traitors that just dropped, an hour and a half ago? And what an episode it was. Did you
so
like
good.
It?
I absolutely loved it. There were certainly certain moments. If anybody's watching The Traitors UK, I mean, obviously this completely mirrored like yesterday's episode.
No, you literally just from seeing the screenshot, you were like, "Well, I know exactly how this challenge is going to play out."
Right, exactly. So I was definitely on my phone for a little bit, but like that round table, fucking fire.
Oh, so good.
The comments in the turret afterwards, fucking fire. So like, no, I'm on board.
So
like,
amped to get into it.
I'm not dialed out, but yeah, the challenge is a snoozer for me, because I'm an international traitor.
Sure.
No, this is my first time seeing this whole thing, how this played out. So I really enjoyed it. Like the fact that there was a murder happening. We knew who was being murdered, but it was built around this mission. Was very interesting to me. Yeah, I thought it was great. I really liked it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a really fun way to like incorporate when are they going to get murdered? Who's to say? Because we see, of course, we open up the episode right where we left off in the last one, with Parvati and the Chalice, and I did not expect it to be Ekin-Su that she was gonna come for.
I didn't either.
I was really surprised about that.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm also happy because like the edit made us believe that maybe it could be Peter, like that guy from The Bachelor.
See, you had said that last time, but I didn't get that from this.
No, that's what I felt too. Because like one of the last things she said, like the camera was on him, and she's like, and then I found my target. And you're like, like it felt like it could be right. Yeah, but he has a shield. Don't do it. No.
Yeah.
But that's what made me feel like it wouldn't be him though. The fact that like
know that though, does she know he has a shield?
Well, no, of course.
No.
Well, he might have actually said it because he was pretty vocal about it. It seemed like.
Okay.
Did they not all know who got the shields?
I don't remember for sure, but I know at least at breakfast he came in being all like, "Well, I slept great because I had a shield," which made me feel like it's probably not the first time he's brought that up. So like he probably was mentioning it the night before. No, I don't think they've worn them to breakfast.
No. Am I crazy?
I don't know if he did. I know some people do. I don't know that. I don't remember if he did.
I didn't see anybody wearing a shield at breakfast.
I just assumed all the shields were common knowledge.
But I did. Yeah, well, I think after the challenge they probably talk about it or whatever. But I definitely like the way the editing was, like the fact that you had Parvati being like, "Oh, and then I found my target," and the camera's going to Peter. I was like, it's not going to be.
Yeah,
him.
It's too obvious. Yeah.
For that reason, yeah.
Kyle, what you giggling about over there?
Matt is fucking taking me out. Ekin-Su.
I don't have the chat bar pulled up, so I haven't seen what he said.
Yeah, that really did it to me. R.I.P. Ekin-Su. 2024 to 2024.
Silly.
Not Ekin-Su.
Right.
No, but Ekin-Su.
Her government name.
Said phonetically. Thank you very much.
What I thought was funny about this, because then, like, we get to breakfast and they're talking about. I also thought it was crazy that it happened right in front of Dan and he somehow missed it. He was like, I have no idea who got murdered. I was like,
have it in front of him, but he wasn't looking that direction. So like,
it was probably No, I think he like consciously was probably not paying enough like that much attention.
That's fair.
Right. Like I feel like
the opposite of Kyle.
right. Like I feel like if I knew that a fellow traitor was right behind me
No, that's
and
fair.
like
Yeah.
had this chalice, I'd be like, you know what, I'm gonna be totally
I don't
tuned
want to
out to
know.
this. Yeah.
I don't know. Let it be a surprise.
Right.
Or else you're like Monica drunk showing up to her 30th and she's like, right.
But no, I did laugh because I love Miss Phaedra, but I did laugh at breakfast where she's like, "Oh my god, like who was it?" And she's like, "Oh, it's Ekin-Su." And she's like, "No, that's not what I wanted at all." And it's like, "Girl, speak up then. Like no one told you to be out of this conversation."
Right.
I don't think you really get to be upset at who got
You
murdered.
don't get to be upset. No, you removed yourself from the conversations and that's it. You're done.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was funny because there was one point where like Parvati definitely had the hardest job here. Like
Oh.
I know that Dan, like kind of helped with getting the chalice or whatever, and Phaedra just chose to completely remove herself from any of this.
I'm out.
Yeah. But like then you have Parvati walk into one room and who was it? There was one person that that Parvati was getting close to that she knew Phaedra wouldn't like. And
I remember it. I just can't remember her name. Sheree.
Sheree. Okay, so you have one person in one room that Parvati's getting close to, and like this is the kind of thing where it's like not everybody's just gonna drink from this glass, so like you have to be careful, and it's like. So you're not happy with this person in this room, and then Parvati goes to a completely different room and gets somebody else to drink from it. You're not happy with that person, and yet you're the only one of the traitors that hasn't actually spoken on this at all. Like,
right, like if you're gonna completely remove yourself, like she didn't even try to help look for the chalice. She was like, "I'm not a part of this. Goodbye."
right?
And then
Like,
had so many opinions on like which way it
yeah,
was gonna go.
to be so like pissed off about how it goes, and you were the one that chose to remove yourself makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Right. I was down for when she like removed herself. When she said, no, I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm also not going to let you like murder Sheree. Not on my watch. Right. I was down at that point, but like anything after that, if you're not going to police it, because at least there is some strategy, right, in removing yourself from the conversation, because we want to make sure that we're protected from the fact that we're never all seen together.
Mhm.
I'm down for that. So at least if you're going to move around with Parvati to kind of police the entire situation, all right, then you're kind of still trying to be part of it and trying to be stealthy. But after that, once Parvati left, you should have followed her.
Right.
So all defenses are dropped at this point. Okay, dropped.
But yeah, obviously we see everybody one by one coming into breakfast, and in walks Ekin-Su. And I'm gonna be so honest, I don't know if it was the edit or if it was just like the way that things played out. I was like, Parvati, fix your face. She was like so shocked. Even Phaedra too. Like they were just looking like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And like it would be different if Ekin-Su was the last person to walk in. So like, oh, they thought she was dead, but now no one's dead. But there were still a couple of people after her, and they were looking like, why did she just walk in this room? And I was like, but I need you to not be that surprised right now.
Yeah, too early to look surprised.
Yeah.
But I also like it though, to play devil's advocate here. I do like it because I do feel like the traitors, while yes, they are playing a separate game, I do feel like they almost have an easier road. Like the faithful have a lot of moments where they can slip up in conversation, just like we saw with Peppermint.
Sure.
I said the wrong word, and because I slipped up in this one, how many times a day do we say something we didn't mean to say? Another word we use, like, oh no, that's not what I meant. I'm sorry. Backtrack. No.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that luxury when you're playing this game as a faithful. And like the traitors definitely have an easier road in that sense. So I'm happy to see them with some challenges this season.
Sure.
Like a little, yeah. I do like that.
I just wish they were a little better at being stealthy.
Yeah.
If anybody's looking at your face, they'd be like, why are you so surprised to see her, huh?
Right. With all the skills that you were supposed to have, Parvati, Survivor winner, like what's going on here? Like Phaedra, you've never really played a game like this, so it makes a little bit more sense to me why you might misstep in this way. But I do expect more from Parvati.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
I did also think it was interesting too. I feel like I'm like skipping around, but we saw, it was brought up that the housewives are kind of like actors. So, they're always like performing even on their own show, even if they're not a competition show or what have you. And that kind of sparked this whole thing of like, none of the Bravo women are trustworthy. And I just like, I don't I feel like, obviously we're seeing a very different version of this game than everybody else, but I feel like I'm not seeing a lot of them align together in the same way that everyone's like, all the Bravo women are working together and they're all traitors. Like I'm just not getting that.
I'm not getting that either, but I guess in a situation where I would lump them together in the sense that, like, all right, so the Big Brother players, I would assume they're doing something together. I would
Sure.
assume you challengers are doing something together. I would assume you survivors are doing something together, with the exception of Sandra and Parvati, because we already know they got some bad blood. But otherwise, that is what I might expect. So there's a world in which it does make some sense to say, oh, the housewives are
No,
playing
I
together.
totally see that. It just seems
Um,
like everybody in the house is like, it's the housewives. Gotta be that. Even CT was like, it's the housewives. And I'm like, I don't know
Yeah.
where we're getting this
Well,
from.
I don't know. I guess for me, the biggest thing that would point to that is just like I feel like this season is still very new. We're still just seeing a lot of things, develop. But I feel like there have been a lot of players that have thrown accusations at other players, but the housewives have never thrown accusations at each other. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Where it's like
mhm.
I think enough has happened, right? Because when they showed how many people had been either banished or murdered, just at the top of this fourth episode, like it's a decent amount of people. There was like
Yeah.
6 or 7 people up there,
I
like
always
that.
forget how quickly people leave this game.
Right, and none of them have been Bravo people or Real Housewives people, or So I think at some point, even though it's early in the season, it feels like you have to kind of look at that, where it's like, all right, we know that there's all these people from this different show. Like when you look at like CT and Bananas, they've already been broken up. When you look at like some other different shows, it's like there are people that have already been broken up, but like the Housewives seem to be doing okay, flying under the radar. I don't know. Maybe that's why people feel that way. I don't know. But I don't think that like the game itself so far has like pointed at the housewives as like they
Right.
have to be the likely target. It's just like we keep coming up short. All the faithful are thinking we're not getting anywhere. So maybe it's this group of housewives because they're not talking about each other. They haven't been in danger. Like that's my only thought, I guess. I don't know.
Mhm.
Mm,
But in
I hear
walks
it.
Alan. In walks Alan saying, surprise, surprise, nobody's been murdered except somebody absolutely has been murdered. And you will find out by the end of the day who it is. And I feel like this room immediately is chaotic because they're all like, oh, well, somebody must have given a drink to somebody who got a drink. And I'm like, how does the one person that actually got handed a drink not remember that she was handed a drink? Fine, whatever. It was also so funny to watch Ekin-Su in this entire episode be like, I am so perceptive. Nobody is going to get one over on me. If it happens and I'm going to see it, I'm going to know who's a traitor. Nothing's going to happen in this competition that I'm going to miss. I'm going to see exactly who murdered. And I was like, girl, it's you. It's you. You're not going to see shit because you're going to be the one who's murdered. She was
Right.
just so cocky this entire episode. And I was like, oh God.
I feel like she actually even said, I think, like at least the editing made it look like just before Parvati showed her, like gave her the chalice, she said about Parvati being like,
Yes.
there's no way that Parvati could possibly be a traitor. Like they showed Ekin-Su actually saying that.
It's like, oh God, she's killing you right now. It's
Mhm.
happening to you
And
right
she did
now.
this to you, right? She did this to you. Mhm.
But I mean, it did set up what I thought was a very fun challenge. At least I liked it a lot better than the previous season's graveyard challenge, where like everybody was buried alive, and it was my worst nightmare, and I hated everything
I
about
like
it.
that. I like that
No,
one.
oh, just the thought of being the person in the box makes me itchy. So I was very grateful that that's not the way that this challenge went down.
I would love to be in the box.
No, no. I would pay production. I'd be like, here is the equivalent of the prize money. Don't make me get in there. I'm not doing it.
No, I'm like, night night.
Wow.
Goodbye.
Oh
Night night.
God, I couldn't do it.
Bye bye. Yep, close me in. Thank you very much. Nobody's talking to me. Nothing's happening for at
Oh
least
no, I'd be so stressed
20 to
out.
30 minutes. Oh, thank goodness. Serene moment, me, myself, and I.
But I much, much preferred this version, which was essentially just as they're going through the funeral procession, they're getting clues of who is not the person murdered, narrowing it down until we have however many people end up being left at the end based on the clues that they were given. And then they have to suss out from them who they believe the person who was murdered was. And I really did like it a lot. Some of these clues, like when they walked into Banana's funeral and they're all singing about like Bananas trusting whoever. I was like, what are we? Why are we doing this?
So good. I love the production value. I love it.
Everything about this show is so stupid in the best possible way.
It's best.
And I love how committed Alan is to all of it. Like him walking out in his like fancy black, and like the entire time that he's walking, he's like, death comes for us all. And he's just so like dramatic.
Smashing. I have to say, I don't know if anybody's following my Twitter. I'm sure you're not, but you can do so at I'm Kyle Petty. But I was watching Spice World last night, and I forgot that Alan Cumming is in that.
Is he?
To see a younger version of him and like not playing this character, you know, like
right.
This very grand, sassy, like, you know, socialite or whatever it is. Like it was very, very refreshing.
There he is.
Look at him go. That is not the same Alan Cumming that we see in Spice World. I'll say. You know, like
I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid. I don't remember it at all.
I have it purchased on the Amazon Prime, so I can watch it whenever I need. So yesterday was an exceptionally bad day, and I felt like, you know, Clue. I watch Clue once a week that no longer has the regenerative effects that Spice World would have. I said, you know, it's been a long time for you.
I love it.
Very refreshing. Very refreshing.
But what I
Shout
also
out
thought
to
was
Mr. Step.
what I also thought was funny about this competition is like I don't know. It's so funny the things that people harp on in this game that they're like, I know without a shadow of a doubt that this is the thing that's true. Because like you would see, you know, Ekin-Su is just being Ekin-Su. Like, it's me. They murdered me. The traitors got me. And they're all like, well, she's overacting. She's being so dramatic. So she is 1000% a traitor. And then like one person threw out the idea that MJ might have been murdered. And then unanimously, everyone was like, 100%. MJ is absolutely the person that they murdered. There's no other possibility. It's got to be MJ. And it's like, I don't know why we're so like stuck on that.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that there was not some roses kind of thrown all across. Like I would have to rewatch the rose throwing order.
Sure.
To kind of see like where like Dan and Phaedra place in this.
They were very like right in the middle.
Yeah, they were definitely in the middle, yeah.
Because it does seem to me like it would have helped a little bit to toss a rose or something on Parvati, not to just pile on. Like, I don't know. Is that also kind of herd mentality? Let me just kind of like filter in with the rest of the group, or I don't know. Does it serve us to kind of split them up a little bit to say like maybe I had a different idea?
So remind me, was the rule of this that like whoever the majority of the rose is on has to be the correct person to bank any money, or was there like more of a split? Because he did make it like,
it had to be the correct person.
Had the majority. So there wasn't like, you know, if a couple of roses were on Ekin-Su, they would have banked a little bit of money.
No, I think this was an all or nothing. Yeah, all or nothing.
Yeah.
Because I did have that thought too of like, why aren't we spreading it out just to like make a little money? You know,
right? Something.
But no, that makes sense. But he said Ekin-Su has been murdered, and he closed that coffin on her head. So he's like, whack, she's gone. I was like, oh my God. And immediately, I know Dan said it in this moment, which like, it's Dan, so like whatever. But like right after that, there were a couple of people being like, oh, so MJ's a traitor. And it's like, how did we jump to that? Because she wasn't murdered. She's obviously a traitor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand the thought process of some of these people.
Yeah, they're dumb. They're dumb. That's what it is.
Like Dan saying it, sure. He's just trying to like, he's going to say whatever and see what sticks. But like a couple of people were like, oh, MG's a traitor, 100%. I think it was, what's his name? The Bachelor.
Peter.
Is that Peter? Yeah. Peter was like, it's MJ. I was like, why?
Yeah, it's really, really strange because like there's no other behavior that would have led you to that. So like
right. It's just the fact that she wasn't murdered means that now she's a traitor?
You thought she should go, and because she didn't, well, that's the only reason why.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
no, you just got it wrong. Like, why any more her than Parvati?
Right. Yeah, I don't understand why the only possible outcome was, well, if she wasn't murdered, it must be because she's a traitor, because nobody was looking at, like, they all throwing the roses down. We're like, well, she's not going to get banished. Like, people really like her. Like, she hasn't really done anything to, like, stir the pot. So if she's going to go, it's going to be because she gets murdered. And then they were like, oh, no, she didn't get murdered. So she's guilty.
Must be her.
Totally guilty. 100% guilty.
Yeah. Yeah. I was honestly a little disappointed that nobody voted for anybody else. Like, the traitors are obviously gonna just follow the crowd,
Of course.
but yeah, I'm a little surprised. And we've talked about the herd mentality, and like, but yeah, I'm just bummed that we've seen a lot more people kind of like branching out during the like the table discussions. It hasn't,
This
like,
round table was
the round
delicious.
tables, yeah. Like, but like I'm surprised that the votes weren't spread out more for the mission. I also feel like, what was the point of having even the questions? I know you have to thin the herd down to
Sure.
3, final people in the mission, but like, maybe they could earn $1,000 for each question they answer right. I don't know.
Something.
Send a letter. Let them know.
By pigeon carrier.
But I feel like after this competition, though, the house, like, everybody was all over the place. We had, I think Larsa was the one kind of leading the charge on, like, it's got to be CT. Like, it's an alpha male because all of the men are deteriorating, and it's got to be a man that's taking everybody out. Might be Dan. Got to be CT. 100% CT. And then you have CT being like, no, it's the Bravo women. Like, it's probably Larsa. I don't know. I don't trust these housewives. And it's like, you have these, like, divided houses of people being like, it's either a strong man or it's a housewife. So I'm thinking it's going to be just a split vote between CT and Larsa. And then we get into this round table and everybody's getting votes. It's like, I don't know how we got here.
I loved it. Even John quote
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said John and my jaw dropped. And then she was like, no, I don't think it's John. I just don't know who else to vote for. Sorry. I was like, what?
And it's funny because wasn't John the one? Janelle called John out, right? About his breathing.
That's a dangerous burn vote, because there's a possibility that he could.
Right, he hasn't not been a topic. Yeah.
Right.
But
his
it's
asthma.
It's just funny because Janelle was the one that first called John out, and in this episode tonight, we heard Janelle say, "I don't think John's a traitor." Like it's just, like, it's funny how like these things kind of shift around. It's very
everything
funny.
Changes so quickly. People are like all in on one person, and then somebody else floats out another name, and they're like, "Oh yeah, never mind." And it's like everybody just immediately follows whatever. If one person is speaking loudly enough, everyone's like, "Yeah, totally, 100%." No other option.
I just know that, like, if I ever played this game in real life, like, I would never, at any time, like, feel sure of anything. So, like, to see people like feel as sure as they are and like stand like, so strong in their suspicions is so funny to me, because like, whether it's Larsa or with the whole CT thing, it has to be an alpha male. It's like, okay, so you think a strong alpha male is taking out all the strong players? It's like, okay, it could also be a weaker player, whatever you think that is, trying to take out the stronger players. Like, how is that not more?
Which also did come up in this roundtable too, because as soon, like, I think Kevin was like, I don't understand why we're like going with the alpha males. Like, I don't understand why that's a thing. And was it MJ that was like, well, it also points to you. And he was like, what? And now
was that about Kevin, right? About Kevin, yeah.
And now all of a sudden Kevin's on the chopping block, and he's like, well, how am I part of this now? Wait a minute.
Right.
What do you mean?
I'm actually liking Kevin a little bit more as this whole thing goes on.
Poor boy has no idea what's going on, but it's fun to watch.
Yeah, he doesn't have any idea what's going on, but I think he's starting to get it.
Yeah.
No?
A little.
You don't think by the end of this that he was starting to kind of grasp it, just a shade?
The thing that gets me about him, though, is something that, like, a couple of people have made this mistake. He gets pissed at somebody, and then he so loudly is like, well, if I were a traitor, you would be the next person that I would murder. And it's like, why are we so comfortable saying things like that? Any person saying like, this is who I would target is dangerous, especially if the traitors are in the room with you, because all it takes is for MJ to be the next murder. And it's like, uh-oh, he did say it. He said it. It's like, well, I don't know why we're so comfortable just throwing around threats at people.
Everyone can catch some.
What if you think you're on to the traitors game, so you publicly say like, oh, I think the traitors would do this, and you say the opposite of what you think? You know what I mean? Is that a good gameplay? Like if you think you're on to them, and then you're like, I'm going to say the opposite of what I think they would do.
I mean, it could be, unless they actually do what you said you didn't think they would. You know, you got to be careful in that way too.
There's so many. Yeah, you have to like
right, because if they actually do behave that way, like that's exactly what you said. Like, I mean, like, and you can't predict something like that. So like, that's tricky too. I think it's just better to not say.
Just keep your mouth shut. Like,
right, unless it's something very obvious.
Right,
stating the obvious, like, oh, well, a traitor would say such and such, something that's a little bit more generic and not so specific. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Right, but it's hard though too, right? Because
roll the dice.
Yeah, but it's hard too because we're saying just keep your mouth shut, and that's what Dan's doing, and it's getting eyes on him. So
well, right, and I don't think keep your mouth shut is really. I don't think that's really where I'm landing. I think again, it has to be something that is at least generic enough that it can't be pulled out. It's like, oh yeah, so Gina said that, but like anyone might have said that. Like that's very obvious traitor behavior. You know, it's got to be like, well, maybe you're suggesting this person because you are a traitor, like, or talking about a double bluff or a situation like that. Like when you get too specific,
yeah,
kind of a problem.
They are a lot of them are again like harping on the most random things, because even we saw right from the get in this roundtable, we see Janelle being like, well, we know that somebody got poisoned and Larsa raised her glass and then everybody drank, so she did it. And it's like, how would she have done that though? Like you all, like she didn't specifically point out any person. You didn't see her walking over to somebody's drink and doing something. She just was like toasting to somebody and then everybody drank. Like I don't know how that was like your obvious connection, but I did get a good laugh out of her being like, I don't know, I just thought it was weird. And Larsa being like, you're weird. I was like, what? Okay, so sorry.
But I guess if you're looking for anything, you can say like, okay, you doing this random cheers to my not actually dead boyfriend, like also was it was a way to get everyone to take a drink. It was everyone at the same time. So that feels like a really, really good cover if that's where the poison was coming from. So like,
right.
It was just like, I don't know how she would have been able to like pinpoint any specific person in that moment.
Right. And I think that's where, because what if you already put something in somebody's glass that you intended?
Right.
Like, you know,
there could have
that's the cover, because it doesn't look like you could have pinpointed anyone because everyone took it at the same time. Like
exactly. Like think about like Big Brother. You could be like, oh, choose to poison somebody, but they have to drink from any glass in the house, like in order to be poisoned, and you could just give a name to Big Brother.
Yeah.
And then if at breakfast you say, all right, everybody, let's toast to this person, and everybody drinks. Yeah. Well, now the person you target has they drank from their cup, so it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I did love though seeing like the kind of ping-ponging back and forth at this round table of who was calling out who, because I feel like, I don't want to say everybody was showing their cards, but like everybody was very much like, you know, you have the people coming for CT because he's an alpha male. You have the people coming for all the Bravo people because they're all playing together. And then even Parvati being like, no, I think it's the housewives. It's got to be something related to the housewives. And I was like, shh. Like, I don't know why we're so comfortable being so vocal about this stuff, because immediately Phaedra was like, that's not what we're going to do here. And I was like, she can so easily throw you under the bus. I don't know why so early on in the game we're deciding to start throwing accusations around in the correct place.
Well, because this is what Parvati does.
Yeah.
See, I don't know her gameplay that well. I haven't actually.
Right. I mean, well, again, she's another person who thinks she's very, very smart, and she is. But like, you've got to like, the Traitors are a little bit faster than Survivor, so like even right down to how she voted last time and like putting that little D and then
Yep.
crossing it out and then writing whatever name she wrote. I don't even remember now. But like you doing that was clearly planting a seed against Dan, and these behaviors are planting seeds against Phaedra. Everything is like one big deflection, which like a seed planted in Survivor has time to grow and germinate and whatever. In the Traitors, you're moving too fast. It's like you
Right,
can't.
like the Dan one was so like sly though. Like I feel like unless you're really like you just like see like, oh, I was gonna write Dan, but then I didn't. Like I don't know, but you still see that she like was suspicious enough. So if you're paying attention, you can see it. She flat out said it's the housewives. Like said the words, pointed in that direction, and it's like that's a little bit too bold of an accusation to make right now.
I agree, but at least that wasn't as specific. So her thing against Dan was very public, but to your point, slightly subtle. Where
And
the whole
other people
Phaedra
had
thing,
said it
yeah, the other
beforehand.
Phaedra thing is also like a little bit grander, but at least it's a group. So like I think Parvati thought that she could kind of hide behind that and not on Miss Phaedra's
Oh,
watch.
she was
Absolutely not.
not having, and
No.
there, like we didn't get a confessional from Phaedra right away. So there were like moments of that where I was like, is she playing up how upset she is to make it like, no, we're really not working together? Like, is she pretending to be mad about it? And
Mhm.
then we get her later on, and she's like, Parvati, nobody likes you. Like, I don't know what,
Yeah.
like she went in, and I was like, oh God.
We can play this game together, but we're gonna play fair.
Oh, it made me
Yeah.
itchy. I was like, I would not want to be on
Yeah,
her
don't
bad
mess with
side.
her, all right? She's married to medicine.
Which also, so we had talked about, I think we said she was some kind of like law something, a lawyer or whatever, in like one of the
Yeah,
previous
she's a
episodes.
lawyer, yeah.
Today she was saying as a funeral director. I was like, how many jobs does this woman have? What do you mean as a funeral director? Did you not catch
Well,
that?
I didn't catch it, but was she a funeral director just because what the theme was? Or was she
No, but
actually
she
trying
she was
to?
talking about, she was like, as a funeral director, this is up my like this is in my wheelhouse because I like whatever like she like implied that like it was like a
Oh,
job that she held, and I
okay.
was like, what?
All right. No, I did not catch it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, maybe I'm crazy.
Mm.
But to sum it all up, even though is this an OG Housewives Atlanta? Gotcha. Yeah, no, I knew that she was like somewhere in there. It's just like I don't know why Married to Medicine is the thing that she's saying that she's known for.
Says
Thank you, Matt
That
Blevins. Thank you,
this
Matt
is
Blevins. I knew it wasn't crazy.
Phaedra Parks is a licensed mortician.
She
so
just
she's
does
a
everything.
lawyer, a
She does
licensed
it all.
physician,
That's why she's
married
Queen Phaedra.
to
Says
some kind of medicine.
December 4th, 2023. So less than 2 months ago. Phaedra Parks, a mortician and funeral director, plans to open her own funeral home as she shared on Married to Medicine.
She does it all.
Yeah. There's nothing Phaedra can't do. Oh, that's what Matt just said too.
She's perfect.
Amazing.
But unfortunately, we do lose a housewife number because out goes Larsa. Deepest apologies.
Is it unfortunately?
Yeah. Goodbye, Mrs. Pippin. I mean, she was fun. She was fun. She would have given us some more good TV. I will lament the loss of Larsa. However, come next Thursday, just a name. Bullet points on a list.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Sorry to Larsa.
I was surprised that the next person that got the most amount of votes was Kevin, though. I was expecting it to be like a more even split between Larsa and CT.
I don't know. I don't think people buy the CT stuff.
They don't buy it. And once Sandra kind of poo-pooed that, it kind of felt like it was over. It could be important just to know, because you know that at this table, like once your name kind of gets said, it doesn't really go away. Like it still comes up. Like John still felt like a safe name to throw out to who did that? Was it Sheree?
Sheree.
Yeah, like it kind of like a safe name to kind of throw out because like I can't get much blowback for that because we kind of discussed him last time, but like I'm kind of burning on this one. So like
Mhm.
it's not
And
great for CT, but we'll see how it
yeah,
plays.
and I think it's interesting because Kevin was kind of a throwaway vote last time. Parvati wrote Kevin after crossing out the D on her slate. She wrote that name, and one other person did also.
It was
It was Peter, right?
Peter. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. Their whole plan about let's vote for each other. They'll think we're not working together, and they won't look at us or whatever. They decided they were going to vote for each other. And now Kevin goes from getting one vote from Peter, who he told to vote for him, a random vote from, Parvati, which was a total burn vote. And Kevin becomes the second most popular name
Yeah.
at the table. Meanwhile, nobody was saying Kevin before the last vote. And he's part of the reason that his name is now being said.
Well,
And
again,
he's getting
like
MJ
MJ
more votes than
one
almost
time,
anyone.
like he was like, I don't know why we're going with this like whole alpha male thing, and MJ was like, well, maybe it's actually you because you aren't an alpha male, and now you're just trying to get out the alpha males. And he was like, what do you mean?
What
And now all of a
happened?
sudden, Kevin is the vote. And it's like, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like things change so quickly at these roundtables.
I love it.
Yeah. No, me too.
Yeah, the only other thing of note that I remember happening is towards the end of this episode, we did see, which I'm sure Kyle is just elated about, some sort of alliance-ish vibe starting to form between CT and Trishelle? Question mark.
I'm only happy if it helps CT's game.
Yeah, I mean, I
Because
feel like that was already there. Yeah, I feel like that was already there because they knew each other. And I felt like once Bananas left, I think I brought this up too. Like once Bananas left, like CT probably feels a little bit more like he has to work with Trishelle, just because that's the only other person he has that challenge connection with.
Mm.
But I don't think that CT really wants to work with her.
It really was mostly her and her confessional being like, he's the only person that I really feel comfortable with sharing all of the information that I have.
Yeah.
yeah, and that does kind of still make sense to me because even if you don't get along for the purposes of this week and a half long game, I can still feel like I can read you better than I can read other people because whether I like you or not, I still know you better than other people. So like there is some value in that.
Mm.
I do think the other thing of note that was completely glossed around, Gina just skipped it. Like he
What I
wasn't
forget? What I
body, but we're so
forget?
sorry to Deontay who just couldn't hack it.
Yeah.
And had to leave the game, left the game.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot that was
Yeah,
a thing that
Gina
happened.
cares not at all.
I forgot.
So
I'm
our
sorry.
apologies to Deontay. But yes, could not stand the heat, and he did decide to step out of the kitchen.
I mean, that was just seeing the way that this was so deeply
Right.
affecting him. I'm not shocked.
Right. Beyonce and her Children of Destiny said it first. The writing was on the wall.
Children of Destiny.
We knew that Deontay was not long for this one.
Oh man.
So, see you later.
Wow,
It's too
completely
bad.
just out of my mind. Deepest apologies, Deontay.
Red
So
X, and we're
sorry.
moving on.
So
Thank you.
sorry.
We have
So
a funeral to attend. Bye-bye.
It's too bad. I actually did like Deontay. He definitely wasn't cut out for this game. It's funny. Like obviously
What did you
everybody's
like about
different. Well, first of all, I know of him as a professional boxer.
him? Okay.
So it was fun to see him play a game like this.
Okay.
And even just like outside of like the voting, where like he seemed to really lose it, like during the banishments. Like I liked his personality. It was just kind of funny to me that and like I said, everybody's different. They handle things differently, mental stress, whatever capacity they come in. But it was just funny to me that like a guy that like gets ready for work every day by having to like mentally prepare himself to like punch somebody in the face couldn't handle voting someone out of essentially a giant, life-size game board.
Literally.
Like this is just like Clue in real life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
glorified
yeah,
Mario Party.
like
and
you literally
the week.
Yeah, and in order to make a paycheck, you literally punch other people in the face. And you can't play this game
It's
for
so
a
funny,
couple
but, like,
weeks?
they literally act like people are straight up dying in this game. Like, I don't know why the emotional toll is
Right.
so
Calm down. You met this person less than a week ago. Their total investment in this process was also less than a week.
They're
Um,
also literally not dead. They're in a hotel room, like, sipping on mimosas somewhere. They're
right. And you
fine.
guys are also actual celebs this time. It's not like before, like the civilian is going back to their job at the bank,
And you
you
know
know,
you're never gonna see
like,
them again.
right. And then they're going
Right,
to their
right.
ho hum, ho drum life, like, no, these are people who actually had like significant, substantial lives before this, and they're going to be able to just walk right back into it.
Uh-huh.
Like, this is not really something to lament.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Well, I do believe that was all I had for this episode. Does anybody else have anything
Great.
they would like to add?
No, no. And, I have an early train, so.
I know Kyle is looking to get out of here, so
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
my
Kyle.
electric blanket is already warming up. Yeah.
Lido, 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 Lido.
How dare you on my night
I don't know what you're talking
embarrass
about.
me like this
I don't know what you're talking about.
Wow, wow.
on
Right, let's
my
take it.
night?
Let's take it home.
Take it home.
Well, before I was so rudely interrupted, I was going to say thank you all for joining us on this episode of Recapping the Traitors. As we said earlier, we are Strat Chat. You can find us on all of the socials at Strat Chat Pod. We are video on YouTube, and we are audio only everywhere that you find your podcasts. If you are listening audio on Spotify or Apple Music or what have you, it'd be really nice if you left us a nice review. We're nice people. We're fun people. That'll help us out.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But yeah, do we know when we're back? Are we back for the challenge on Thursday? Is that the next one?
Thursday.
Yeah, I think this worked out nice, huh? Kyler was able to join us for both streams. We had all our friends here tonight. Shout out obviously to Matt and Liz and all our wonderful friends. I think this worked out great for everybody. So yeah, Challenge 39 at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then we're gonna get the hell out of here so we can watch the Traitors live at 9. Drop it on the Peacocks, and then we'll be here 15 minutes after.
I like it. I like
think
it.
looks great. Yeah.
All right.
Eviction night never looked so sweet, even without each other.
Well, in that case, we will see you on Thursday. Goodbye, friends.